a senior aide to Keir Starmer has resigned in disgrace after explicit texts were uncovered about Diane Abbott. Paul Ovendine, a senior aide to Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, has resigned after offensive and sexual text messages came to light in which he recounted a conversation about veteran MP Diane Abbott. Leave Diane alone, honestly. Now, this is the leaked transcript. Paul Ovendine at 3:58. I've got something that will make you LOL from last night. We were playing Shag, Marry, Kill at PT. Honestly, I nearly wet myself laughing. The name has been redacted. At 4 o'clock, it says, "What? I love that game." Paul says, "Ask so and so asking," and then who would use the strap on out of her and Diane Abbott was the highlight / low light. So and so, physical demonstration of so and so. Putting it on was amazing. What are you doing? It's so big it has shoulder straps. Ha ha ha, that's amazing. What was the answer? Some awful mental pics are assembling in my head. Paul Ovendine then responds with, "We spent a lot of time discussing," redacted, "going down on Diane. Honestly, it was outrageous." Oh my God, they respond. Utterly disgusting. The government has responded and they said, the spokesperson for the Prime Minister called the messages appalling and unacceptable, saying, "As the first black woman to be elected to Parliament, Diane Abbott is a trailblazer who has faced horrendous abuse throughout her political career." Calling her trailblazer, they bloody suspended her twice. The key question is, who enabled this? Paul Ovenden didn't act in isolation. He'd climbed the ranks of Starmer's inner circle, analysing voter trends and shaping strategy, and he reported directly to none other than Morgan McSweeney. McSweeney and others hold that much power, but why wasn't anyone watching what was going on? How could a senior advisor blithely talk about humiliating Diane Abbott in such vile terms without any oversight or consequence until now? The rot is honestly systemic. Then you've got spineless Starmer calling these revelations, quote unquote, chilling, but chilling isn't enough to describe this. Curtis, they're attacking Diane Abbott again. She refused to even comment on this. She said, "I'm not going to comment," because she said it's something that she's had to constantly contend with throughout her whole political career. I mean, what do you make of all of this? This is obviously an internal leak, but it's pretty damning, isn't it?
Well, these people are children. Children.
Mhm.
Shag, marry, kill. It's so embarrassing. I mean, these people are supposed to be the competent ones. They're supposed to be the adults in the room, right? What are these 10-year-olds? It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. Like listening to them giggle like children over Diane Abbott. And by the way, if I have to hear a Labour MP say that Diane Abbott is a trailblazer again, I'm going to lose my mind, right? You're absolutely right. The Labour Party suspended Diane Abbott twice. So for a spokesperson to say, this is abhorrent, this is disgusting, she's a trailblazer, you don't care about her. You don't give a toss. She's not got the Labour whip. And the reason why you removed the whip is because she talked about the hierarchy of racism, which is a true thing. Let's talk about the hierarchy of racism. This reminds me, like, oh my God, it reminds me just about the Labour leaks that we heard in 2019, 2020. And Diane Abbott was completely, she was within the Labour leaks there because she received disgusting, sexist and racist comments from other Labour MPs. I think even Paul Ovenden was implicated in these Labour leaks. So, of course, this is nothing new for Diane Abbott. But what this does is expose the rot that's inside the Labour Party. I mean, I'll borrow Wes Streeting's term, the fish rots from their heads. But this is the Labour right. Okay, they're bastards. They are horrible, horrible, vile, disgusting people. And they're so vile and disgusting, not against the Conservatives, though, but against the left, particularly black women on the left. These are the type of people that are in the party. And they have controlled the party machinery for a very long time, including under Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, that was the big schism with Corbyn's leadership is obviously he was a leader of the opposition. He had the Lotto team. He had the membership. But in between, which is why it made it so difficult for him to be leader, let's be honest, was that Labour machinery in the middle. And the Blairites and the right wing of the Labour Party always controlled it. And that's been the same ever since. Diane Abbott is the most abused MP in Parliament. She received 50% of all sexist and racist abuse, I believe, between 2017 and 2019. 50%, right? So you've got to think all the other MPs, and then she makes up of half of them. Absolutely deplorable. And even with the Labour leaks, even when we saw these messages about Diane Abbott and Keir Starmer was going to get on it and appointed Martin Ford QC even to do something about it, to do a report, which he did, the Ford report, and came back and said, by the way, there's racism, sexism, particularly against Diane Abbott, but there's also a factional warfare going on, mostly perpetuated by the right wing. What did Keir Starmer do? He ignored Martin Ford. He wouldn't return his phone calls because he didn't like the answer, right? This is Keir Starmer, former human rights lawyer, proper statesman, right? Clamping down on racism, apparently. Remember he said the door was there? We've made changes so you can fuck off. He said that we're no longer an anti-Semitic party. There wasn't a crisis of anti-Semitism, as we know. But of course, performative fighting against anti-Semitism is what matters, right? They don't care about real anti-Semitism and they don't care about other forms of racism, obviously, right? So we've seen in black and white the way Labour MPs have spoken about Diane Abbott 5 years ago, and yet we're still now seeing emails and messages being leaked, sexually explicit content about Diane Abbott. It is truly disgusting, but this tells you everything you need to know about the Labour right. I happen to think that the Labour right are worse than probably the majority of Conservative MPs.
Yeah.
Now, I think the Conservative Party and Conservative MPs probably on a few things are to the right on policy, although it's becoming very hard to distinguish that. Maybe they're not. But I believe there are many Conservative MPs who would not act in this way. They certainly wouldn't treat each other as bad as this. I've never seen such, because it goes beyond factionism. I've never seen such vitriol and disgust, not just against Diane Abbott, but of the left of the Labour Party, than I've, compared to fights within the Conservative Party. The Labour right are horrible, soulless, nasty people. They are scum. They are scum, and they should be nowhere near power, nowhere near the state. And guess what? Keir Starmer going won't change that. I do think that maybe this is some sort of political stitch-up by Morgan McSweeney. You referenced that this was given to McSweeney. Why has this come out 7 years later? He's a Keir Starmer aide. I think it's probably because the controversy with Peter Mandelson, Morgan McSweeney wants to see Keir Starmer gone. The reason why he wants to see Keir Starmer gone is because Morgan McSweeney pushed to keep Peter Mandelson. It's very embarrassing for him. And I think he's worried that Keir Starmer might start to dig him with Peter Mandelson. Although they're both implicated, he might try that. So I think that McSweeney, once again, is probably doing some internal leaks here, trying to embarrass Keir Starmer, get him to resign. But you know what? I don't give a fuck about tensions between Morgan McSweeney and Keir Starmer. They're both disgusting people. They both belong to a disgusting... It's no longer a faction, by the way. This is just the Labour Party, right? All decent people pretty much left. There's no one decent left. So I can't wait to see this party completely die. I don't want to die a miserable, miserable death. Diane Abbott deserves so much better. The first black woman to become MP in Parliament. She has been on the right side of history time and time again. And when she speaks up about her own racism, when she speaks up about the hierarchy of racism, which still exists, this is how she's treated.
It's a shame as well, because I can't even say that I'm surprised. And even in Paul's apology, he had said, well, if we pulled up conversations or text messages that people have had in a pub or with their friends, you probably would find that they've said some heinous things.
They're not in a pub.
They're not in a pub, mate.
This is messages between Labour officials.
Exactly.
Between politicians talking about another MP. You wouldn't say this at a workplace.
You would absolutely not say that at a workplace.
By the way, I don't think it's good to say, oh, by the way, this is how we talk about women in the pub. If that's what you do, get new friends. But but imagine this is a workplace. Imagine this is your colleague. You work at a call center, and you were talking about this, and the emails are exposed. The idea that he can defend himself is grotesque. But these people, look, he defends himself because he thinks he's above it. He thinks he's above Diane Abbott. The Labour right think they're better than the left, better than people like Diane Abbott. That's how they can, put out a pity apology. They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. That's exactly what I wanted to say, though, because him saying that It's like you're enabling this really weird culture of speaking
Mm,
about women,
mm,
particularly Black women, in such a vulgar way, completely dehumanizing her, and no respect whatsoever. You're absolutely right. I hope the Labour Party completely falls on its face. I mean, it's another L for Starmer, and I hope he continues to take more L's. Another L for the Labour Party, and I hope they continue to take more
mm.
L's because they bloody deserve it. If these are the sorts of people you have in your circle, and this is the culture that you're creating, sort yourself out, because I think you need a reality check.
Support independent media, support social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.